With us today is Ginger Healy. Welcome, Ginger.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ginger.
I am an LCSW therapist and I work for the Attachment and Trauma Network as the parent director. But my most important job is being a mom to 4 kiddos. And that's kind of how I got involved in this work. I have a son who is adopted and he has experienced, trauma effects from that. And I also have a son with some special needs. So this work is a passion for me.
It's a natural blend, and we have a wonderful pre-existing relationship because the Attachment and Trauma Network has vetted all of our written SEL curricula and digital curriculum to be trauma informed. And Ginger and I were pretty much the leads on that fantastic project. So it's such a pleasure to work with you again today. Before we get started, I wanted you guys to know that we have some really fun freebies giveaways at the end. Please stick around. Feel free to like our Respectful Ways Facebook page. So feel free to stick around and see what we've got. I'm going to share screen and we're going to get right down to it and talk about these amazing experts who gave us such incredible information over the week. One of our features is Mona Delahook.
Yeah, she is a fantastic speaker, author, I think world changer. This book is so powerful. And for me, I'll share a really quick personal story. I delved into this book for how to work better with children who have been affected by trauma. But I found personally for me, chapter 7 talks about autism and neurodiversity. And my son with autism, I just sat and sobbed as I read it because I wanted all of the teachers in the world who work with kids who have autism to read that chapter. I don't know how to explain what a cause it can shift for you in the way you look at things and these kids after you read that chapter. And even better than that, chapter 8 goes into specifically how to work with children who have been trauma affected. And that's what she really spoke about at the conference. And so I hope that you'll just open yourselves up to everything that she has to say. And we've got some exciting news for you at the end of this live on how, if you missed the conference, you didn't miss the conference. So hang on for that. But
I love it.
It's just, I can't say enough good about Mona and the things that she taught us at the conference and the things that she teaches us in her book.
Amazing. So our next feature who spoke at the conference is Dr. Melissa Sadin. And one of my favorite books she's involved in is written as 20 Things Kids with Trauma Wish Their Teachers Knew. Yeah. It is so brilliant. It's something that I recommend to schools anytime we travel and meet with. This is a go-to. And I'd like to just read a few lines here. Learn about brain development, then teach me about my brain. When I understand the way my brain has developed, then our conversations become about my brain and not about me. Children with developmental trauma have brains that are not often the same as children without DT. They have an overactive amygdala and an underachieving hippocampus. So please feel free to talk about that, Ginger, and the beauty in this book.
I get really excited to talk about neuroscience, and Dr. Sadin taught me the basics of neuroscience. So I'm going to share something quick with you today that has really helped me to help other people. This is called the Hand and Brain Model by Dr. Siegel, and you can teach it in your classrooms to very young children, K through 12, and in your home. So here is your hand. We're going to turn your hand into a brain. Here's your brain stem. And the fatty part of the base of your hand is the cerebellum, so the lower part of your brain. Cerebellum is responsible for digestion, heart rate, breathing. You don't think about those things, right? They happen automatically. Then you go up to the mid part of your brain. This is your limbic system where your amygdala and hippocampus live. And then we go up to the cortex. Now it's starting to look more like a brain. And this, your fingernails right here, are your prefrontal cortex. This is where you have the ability to multitask, plan ahead, think, remember, process language. Well, that sounds like things that we need in the classroom, right? But what happens in our daily life? We get stressed. Something happens that makes us angry or scared. And when that happens, the amygdala fires, sending an alarm, and our lid flips. Everybody's lid flips. And when that happens, we're not able to do those things that are right here because we don't have access. We only have access to fight, flight, and freeze. Teachers have seen that in their classroom. And what happens is you can't teach, you can't learn. So we have to help these kids get back into their prefrontal cortex. And I wish we had time to go through how to do that. Maybe we'll touch on it a little bit through the video, but this hand-brain model is really important to learn because it normalizes that everybody flips their lid. It takes the shame out of those behaviors that we talk about in school. And when kids get mislabeled and are called manipulative or lazy, it's not that, it's that they cannot control those behaviors. So the one thing that I love about Dr. Melissa Sadin at the conference was that she taught, we don't ask kids what's wrong with you. We need to ask them what happened to you, what's in your way. And so her talk was all about how to create safety and remove those barriers for those kids.
Yeah, Dr. Sadin, tremendous.
Tremendous.
Joe Brummer,
Oh,
I know that he had a very, very powerful presentation at the conference, and we're talking now into restorative justice. Please talk about Joe and his details and information he gets to share.
Yeah, he is an extremely powerful speaker. He talks a lot about equity and collaborative and proactive solutions. So restorative justice is moving away from that punitive and disciplinary action into victim offender dialogue and circles. And it's just a different way to shift communication and how we work together and bring and restore, you know, that word is so powerful. So he gives very specific details on how to do this, how to bring this into the classroom. You know, he said something that really has stuck with me. He said, students don't owe us their story. You know, we need as educators and parents to be the healing relationship that comes in and helps these kids, as opposed to just expecting them, you know, like you mentioned, and if they're not in their prefrontal cortex, we cannot expect them to do everything we're asking them to do. So we've got to come alongside.
Yeah. So has there been any questions, Jeff? Have you been monitoring any questions from the people who are attending our meeting here? Okay, I do see one here about how the trauma sensitivity. Let's see, this is about Dr. Mona and her book. We can certainly move on here. It doesn't look like here. Ginger, tell us what you wanted to discuss about the fitting time in the classroom daily to be trauma sensitive to students.
Yeah. We have a huge heart for teachers. We know that teachers don't work 9 to 5. They pretty much work 24/7. And so to ask a teacher to do one more thing is overwhelming and it's too much. So here's what I want you to think about, teachers and parents, is that this trauma-informed teaching and this movement is not about adding more to your plate. It's preventative measures that help you in the long run work less rather than fighting those behaviors that you're stressing with all the time. It gets ahead of them, it prevents them, and it it's good for every child. So I think we all know that 1 in 4 children in every classroom has experienced trauma, but now we are all in a collective trauma. That's what this pandemic has done. So this is good for everybody. It teaches empathy. And so every student in the classroom, every child in your home can benefit from that.
Mhm. So I'd like to move on to another keynote speaker from the convention, Ingrid Cochrane. She stole the show because we were a part of this Attachment and Trauma Network conference, and anyone who popped into our booth and connected with us respectful ways spoke about the impact that she had on them. Feel free to tell us, Ginger.
Oh, she is a powerful force. I am holding back emotion right now because she is a world changer and we need her and her information. She
Here,
has left me speechless, right?
here, I'm going to share her.
Okay,
ACEs.
here we go. Ingrid works for ACEs Connection. And if you're not aware of ACEs Connection, welcome to learning about ACEs Connection. ACEs Connection has up-to-date information. They are the most up-to-date. They give new links to information regarding attachment, trauma, all those things that we spoke about at our conference hourly. I mean, this is just a running feed. And it's something that you can subscribe to, and you can get a daily digest like I do, or you can slow that down and not get so much information. But this is information that teachers will want in their classrooms and parents will want in their home, because it is a resource as to how to talk about what is going on in the world and how we can, sometimes this trauma work is heavy, right? But this is where you find the hope. And that is what we really spoke a lot about at the conference, is the hope that comes from knowing what we know. We can do better now. We can respond better. And that is so exciting. You know, Ingrid talked about this collective trauma we're in, and she said, have you noticed, it's called allostatic load, but have you noticed you've been more irritable? You're not sleeping as well. Maybe you're more clumsy. You're not alone. We're all feeling it on a cellular level, the stress that this collective trauma has brought on. So rather than wallow in that, we've got a lot of things that you can do in your classroom and at your home that can really alleviate that stress and heal this collective trauma that we're all experiencing. So she talks about thinking about what you can do to change yourself, your policies and procedures in your school. It's just a really powerful talk that she gives. It's life-changing. It really is.
Yeah, I heard this is like a news feed of information that you need. You could tune in every 5 hours and you've got new information, which is such a benefit and asset to our whole society. So I'd like to move on. I do want to give a little sneak peek about what people can win at the end of this live Facebook Live. This is a tremendous mindful yearbook that gives you introductions on how to be mindful. It's interactive, where you get to write down, and it asks you questions that are so brilliant. Like, who do you turn to for support? Think about who you turn to for support. Write that down. How are you? All too often we answer this question with, I'm fine. Well, you know, even if we aren't. So think about how you really are doing today. It's such a tremendous book. And then the other thing we are giving away at the end are superhuman capes. We have some for children. We have some for their playful adults. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what you could win at the end. And I want to talk next about Riley the Brave. Share with us about Riley the Brave, and that's Jessica Sinarski.
Yeah. Oh, you guys, Jessica Sinarski is a brilliant author. This book is such a fantastic tool. And before I get into this book, I just want to say, Jessica really taught us in her conference talk about, building those blocks of healing, and so much more than the book. But the book is a fantastic tool for teachers and for parents. So I just want to share with you, it was a page that for me it really caused me to pause and feel and think. I'm going to show it to you, but I want to read you what it says first. Riley is a cub who has experienced trauma in his past. And so because of that, sometimes he feels different. There are some confusing things from his past that are hard to talk about. And his friends don't know that sometimes when he thinks about the past, he feels all mixed up inside. Can you see how Riley feels inside? That's pretty powerful. And that's an image that I just want us to hold, because I want teachers and parents, and us as ourselves to think about when something crops up from our past, or when we're having a really rough day, this is what's going on inside. And so I would love for a teacher or a parent to get down at that child's eye level and really attune and know what's going on inside, because that changes how we respond to these kids when they're having a rough day. And she talks a lot more about that. I'm going to show you one more thing that is absolutely fantastic about this book, and that is the Afterward for grownups. So what's really awesome is it kind of gives a how-to of how to really effectively use this book in your classroom and in your home. I just want to share one thing from it that really stuck out to me. And that is that, sometimes a lot of times we say to kids when something's wrong or they're having a tantrum, we say, use your words. Well, what we need to realize, and I taught you with that hand-brain model, is language processing is in the prefrontal cortex. If this kid has a flipped lid, they can't use their words. They Literally. Don't have the ability. So we are asking them to do something they cannot do. So she says, instead of relying on your child to change, try using those prickly moments, which is another way of saying fight, flight, or freeze, as an opportunity to connect. I know it's hard, but this is a chance once again to meet him with warm eyes, get down on his level and say, oh, honey, are you having a porcupine moment? I'm so sorry you're feeling that way. I'm here with you, sweetie. You can even use fewer words, try again later, but I wonder if you're feeling unsafe.
That is just pure empathy. When, like you said, get down on their level, see them from eye to eye, give them the acknowledgement and understanding that it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. Okay, you don't have to use your words to explain.
That's right.
And we have been in this habit of use your words, explain, and the lid is flipped.
You can't. Yeah.
And it's our job to understand this.
Yeah.
And that's where that empathy lies. Our empathy lies in the right side of our brain, building those memory pathways of empathy and compassion is how we're all going to be better parents, better teachers, a better society. So that's Jessica Sinarski's book, Riley the Brave. Don't forget that one. We're moving on to Dr. Daniel Alston. He was another presenter at the Trauma Sensitive School Convention. Tell us a little bit about how building, positive relationships, what he spoke of.
Yeah, Dr. Daniel Alston and Dr. Christy Opiola from University of North Carolina, and they really focused on relationship and connection. And I just loved how you could feel from him how much he cared about those students. Like, we didn't even talk about academics. And this is what I want teachers to know. The academics will come once the relationship is in place, there is connection, there is felt safety. But if we push the academics first, we're missing out. So I enjoyed that he really walked the walk, not just talked and preached, but you could tell he gave very specific examples of a fight that happened in his class and how he responded instead of reacted and kept that relationship going rather than putting into place punitive measures where that student was never allowed back in. It was a beautiful example of healing in the classroom and set the tone for the other students that this is a safe place. And because of that, we see test scores going up in math and in English. I mean, it is powerful when there is a true sense of safety in a classroom setting. And I'm not talking just about physical safety. I am talking emotional safety and just that feeling of true safety.
It's fascinating. You almost had to have that one moment that which sort of kicked everyone into high gear and got everyone understanding and relaxing into that classroom where we're all better for it afterwards. We can all relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm going
There are plenty of opportunities that come up in a classroom. Every teacher will tell you that.
This is true. So I'm going to share our screen. We have two very incredible women to meet now. And they're part of the Focused Mindset Education Group. Emily, you can start with Emily since she's on screen first.
Yeah, I love these ladies, Emily Meeks and Tanisha Thomas, and they are with the Focused Mind Group. And they spoke about the 4 R's of culturally responsive teaching. So they really focused on relationship. How many times have you heard me say relationship in this video? It is paramount to healing trauma. So, they focus on building trust. And then their second R is relevance. And that's really focusing on that the content in the classroom should be connected with the outside world, right? It's culturally relevant. And their third R is real. And that's where they're establishing community. And that goes right back to safety. I speak a lot about safety and connection and relationship because they are all very intertwined. And that is how you create a trauma-sensitive school. So their last R is responsive. And that's exactly what we've been talking about today. We want to resist re-traumatization and create an environment as safe. And how we do that is by learning the neuroscience, teaching the neuroscience so that we can be trauma responsive in the classroom. So of course they delved into it way deeper than I am today. And so I am excited for you to go back and to be able to access all these talks that we have spoken about. We'll get into that in just a second. I just keep teasing about it because I have such exciting news about it.
Actually, so Tanisha and Emily, absolutely brilliant speakers, brilliant women. And I'm curious about any other questions that might be on our Facebook page or any other assets, Ginger, that you'd like to chime in about before we get into our giveaway and what Attachment and Trauma Network has in store.
Boy, I'm just overwhelmed with how inspired I am after the conference, because there is so much hope out there and so much resources out there. In fact, the Attachment Trauma Network just launched a resource directory because we want to connect all of internationally anyone seeking information and resources, whether it be a therapist or a residential treatment center, any kind of resource and support, we really have that available. And so that is something powerful that I want everyone to be aware of.
Absolutely. And so we have this conference. This is the largest conference for trauma-informed educators, and lots of parents were involved in this as well. And it's not over. Is this good news that we've got here? Please share.
No, we have fantastic news. We have a conference after pass. And so that means that you can still purchase a pass that allows you as a single pass, or your school as a group pass. There is also a parent pass at a discounted rate. And that allows you to go back into our platform and watch all of the speakers and all of their content, and watch it more than once, because some of these, I'll tell you what, I've gone back already and watched several, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that, or hearing it again for the first time. So you can go back in and watch all of the material that we have, all of the speakers. Do you know we had over 40 speakers? You just can't get such a level of content like that anywhere else.
And I do believe, I love the purpose of the Attachment and Trauma Network. So it's .org, attachmenttraumanetwork.org. You can review their website and take a look around, understand their beliefs. As Ginger just mentioned, there's 40 speakers that you get to visit and revisit and write notes and save the information. And then Respectful Ways, we are partners with the Attachment and Trauma Network, and feel free to please, like our Facebook page, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, where we are news and relevant information having to do with social and emotional learning and trauma-informed care. So Ginger and I decided, we were like, okay, so how shall we do this? What I'd like to see happen is in the chat, pick a number between 1 and 100, and you will get this fantastic Mindful Year book, which seriously has so many different assets that I just found so very powerful. You can pick any one of these. Consider how your day is governed by time and the need to get things done, right? How would your day differ if you had no concept of time? How would your day differ? Every single one of these is more profound. I told Ginger yesterday that I'm going to actually go out and buy this again for myself, because why not have something to ponder? We also are including the superhuman capes. Now, our superhuman capes come in different sizes and different colors. We also have red and blue. So let's see what kind of numbers that we are getting here. And we will be in touch with the person who comes with the closest. We have a 56, we have a 64. All right, it's getting close here. Yeah. Oh, let's see who could be the closest. Okay, let's see who we have here. Looks to me like it's Tammy Herbert. So Tammy, please stick around, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was, I wanted to make this Facebook Live happen because I found this conference so profound. It was a virtual, which, sometimes that intimacy, you talk about relationship, that we were still able to have a sense of intimacy. You guys made this conference fun and enjoyable, and I can't thank the Attachment and Trauma Network enough, because I look forward to it every single year, and it will continue to intrigue us and educate us and give us these important goods. And like you said, this is a movement. This is an understanding that really will get going with the understanding of trauma sensitivity, trauma-informed learning. And Ginger Healy, thank you so very much. We thank you with Respectful Ways as well. And we appreciate your time, y'all. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.